Have you ever launched a digital ad campaign and expect amazing results out of it, only to find out that it's not really going the way where you wanted it to go, and you end up wondering what went wrong? Well, you're not alone. Hi, my name is Faizan Riaz, and I'm the co-founder of Forward Digital Consultancy. With over a decade worth of experience in digital advertising, I have some insights to share. So let's turn those ad budgets into ad results. The number one mistake that people usually make while creating campaigns is they don't spend enough time trying to understand the audience. If you don't know who you're talking to, if you don't know who you're selling to, if you don't know who your potential buyer is, chances are you are going to be shooting a dart in the dark. Now, that might work for some category of brands, for products that are pretty low involvement or products that are very small in terms of the price tag. But as you grow in terms of trying to sell the right thing to the right person, you won't really be able to make a difference until and unless you know what these people look like, what their demographics are, what their interests are, what do they like to do online, what their problems are, what their potential pain points are, and which pain point your product or your service is solving for them. We use a tool like HubSpot. I've put the link for the persona tool in the captions in this video. That should help you out. So the first thing that you need to do is to understand your audience inside out. Go as detailed as you can to get a very fair and balanced perspective in terms of who they are, what they want, and how can you help them with any of their problems and your product basically. Next up, the platform. See, not all platforms are created the same. They're not equal in any way. For B2B businesses or services, LinkedIn or Google Search or PPC as you know it might be a better platform as compared to a more visually appealing brand. For them, Meta, particularly Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, might be a better alternative in terms of reaching out to their audience and getting the conversions that they're looking for. So the point is that you should be there where your consumer is. And for that, we come back to point number one, understand your audience. Find out who they are, where they spend their time, and only then you'll be able to create a compelling strategy in terms of the platforms that you should choose for promoting your business or your brand, your product, your services. Number three, creating compelling ads. Now, the creative is something that people, especially marketers or digital advertisers, they often overlook because we're so keen on looking at the technicalities of running an ad that we forget the very fundamental aspect of advertising. That is, what is it that they're looking at? What is it that is going to make sure that your audience looks at your product, looks at your brand, and encourages them to give it a try, put it in the consideration phase, and then ultimately move towards a purchase. So if you're creating content, my advice is to create multiple categories of content, sorry. So for example, one could be very rational, perhaps, where you're talking about numbers, you're talking about, why the product is such a good fit. The other could be an emotional aspect. The third could be something around credibility. The fourth could be a video, a small animation. So creating the right ad copy that is going to resonate with the audience is important. And for that, it's important for you to experiment and to test what kind of content is actually working for you. And once you hit that bullseye, then you can create as many copies of it as you want to. Experimentation in creating the content is something that is often overlooked, and it's something that you should definitely incorporate in your digital advertising strategy to ensure that your conversion rates keep going up. Number four, budgeting and analysis. What I usually recommend when running a media campaign is to first create a small pilot campaign to test out the waters, to test out how the audience is responding, and to get a baseline report basically of your advertising. to understand better the numbers and the KPIs that you can probably achieve in a longer term. Now, once you have that small campaign in place, run it for a couple of days, run it for at least, let's say, 2 weekends, because the traffic on the weekend is usually, somewhat higher on certain platforms for certain audiences, while it might be different for other audiences on other platforms. So you need to understand better about when your audience is responding. You need to understand if the visuals, if the targeting, if all the aspects that you've kept within your ad campaign are actually working for you or not. Once you do that, then you can easily scale it up as much as you want. Now, of course, there is sometimes a limit as to how wide can you go with a campaign. For example, if you have an audience size, let's say of 1 million people or 1.2 million, there will come a time when you would have potentially exhausted that audience if you're running your ads on a much larger budget. Now, in that case, you need to have a plan B. You need to have another set of audience right in front of you. You can use your lookalike audiences if you're running ads on Meta to keep on adding new people to your funnel, to keep on adding new people to your advertising, to your ad sets, and ultimately keeping momentum when it comes to keeping a definitive figure on your conversion rate and your cost per conversion. So to wrap it up, running a campaign isn't about the person who's spending the most. It's about the person who's spending smartly. If you understand your audience, if you've looked at multiple sets of creatives, if you are analyzing everything, if you are optimizing your campaign on the go, if you're budgeting smartly, the chances are that the ROI of your campaigns is going to be a lot better as compared to what you were getting previously. And it might be a lot better than the bigger advertisers as well. It all depends on how you take your campaign from ground zero to the level where you want it to go. That's my recommendation. If you have anything else to add to this subject, feel free to comment below. Thank you.